Hi friends, again we are here to discuss the one of the new concepts which we use in .NET technology, that is namespace collections. I think yet now in our practical part we use this various namespaces, and also we will discuss on delegates and events. So what about the delegates? How to use the delegates? And one more chapter, that is small one, that is idea of the debugging and exceptions. We will discuss in this lecture. Now, what is namespace? So you know very well that is the namespace is designed for the idea of to keep your class separately, or to keep your whatever the word separately from another. So in a class we declare the use namespace, and when we declare the class name and we declare some namespace, so at that time class name may be duplicate one. It will not conflict with the another, the same class which is declared in another namespace. So namespace is most applicant tool, and that's why here we use this tool just to keep our code separately, keep our logic and our code separately. A namespace is defined begin with the keyword namespace followed by the namespace we give over further the namespace. Look the syntax namespace. If you look the syntax carefully, this namespace is a keyword. Then name of the namespace, you may put your own name also. So put your name, and in between curly opening and closing curly bracket you put your code. And by using the word, one of the word which we use to use this namespace, that is using keyword. So using so and so, like this way, using system dot something, we can use this keyword. So this is the idea for the namespace. So namespace is one of the concept which we use in C#.NET. Now what about the collections in C#.NET? So C#.NET, the collection is divided into several classes. Collections in system.collections.generic, system.collections, system.collections.concurrent, like this way. So collections standardized a way in which objects are to be well handled by our programs. That is, collection is contains set of classes. It contains elements in the generalized manner. And by using the help of this collection, we can perform the various operations just like insert, update, delete, retrieve, search, like this way. A generic collections, which is defined in C#.NET by the class system.collection.generic namespace, and it provides just implementation of the generic collections of the data structure like linked list, stack, queues, dictionaries, etc. And while the collections which are mentioned in system.collections.concurrent is applicant when we want to use the stack concurrently, just to avoid the mismatch, the generic collections are to be defined, and it contains the interface and the classes also. So interface, classes is a part of collections. So this is the idea for the collection. Yeah, now one of the most important tool, that is delegates. I think you know C++ or C language very well, Java language also, and if you well understand the concept idea, that is functions. It is similar like a function. That means a delegate is a reference type of variables. It is a reference type of variable that hold the reference for a concerned method. So concerned methods is to be reference is to be keep stored by using pointer method, just like in C++. So C# delegates are similar like a pointer functions. So concerned method is used as a reference variable. So delegates are specially used for implementing events and callback methods. So various delegates are there, and these delegates are to be derived from a class system.delegate. System.delegate class is a system class which is applicable for this. Now how to declare the delegates? The simple one, look this syntax. The delegate declaration, that is by using the word delegate. Then what about its return types? So what this method will return? Name of your delegates, and what about your parameter list? So delegate can refer the methods, right? So what about the parameter list for this? So public delegate integer, my delegate string in bracket yes. So here string yes is the parameter, my delegate is the name having integer type of the return type, right? So it is a public one. So public delegate is the word, so it returns the integer and having parameter string. So once we declare the delegates, then object we may create it in our main function by using new keyword. Yes, look syntax, that is for example public delegate void print string in bracket string yes. So here this is the argument string yes, and return method is void, so it will not return anything. Now how we create object? Print string ps1 is the object. Now new print string and whatever your parameters. So in this way we can use the delegates, we declare the delegates and we create the object for this delegates. Now look this example. The example is so simple. Again, look here, using system. So earlier we discussed why to use the using word for the namespace. So here we declare the delegate. So delegate, it returns integer part. So number changer is the name of my delegate and parameter is integer n. Okay, so this is our namespace. Okay, we start our code. We create the class of text delegate. We declare one variable. This is a simple static variable 10. Okay, we define two methods. One method will add the value, so number plus pp is the parameter, right? It is a parameter, it is argument, it will return the value. And second method, it will do the multiplication p with q is again parameter, again it will return the value. And third method get num, it will return only concerned number, there is no any parameter. Okay, so just three methods are included in our program in the class text delegate. One method will do the addition, second one will multiplication, and third one will just return it. Now come to our main function. So here we create the objects nc1, nc2 by the delegate object. So number change is a method, this is a reference method, and we pass the argument add number. It is the function add number p. Second one multi number. Third one you may write it Also directly we pass the number 25, 5, and we will get the result by get number. Let us see what will be the result. We will do the practice. That is the we'll write this program. Okay, I will just copy this program. We will find out what will be the output of our program file. Let us see what will be the output. So we will start with console. Yeah. See the output 35 and 175. Now again we will think about our program. So what we mainly here. Okay, so when we call this object named nc1, that is number change, right? We pass the method add number. For nc2 we pass the method multinum. Now this nc1 we will, when we call it, we pass the argument 25. So 25, for this 25 it will go and add number is there, and when we call the add number, so at that time 25 plus your initial value is 10, so 35, and when we pass 5, at that time we got the method multinum, right, for nc2. So 5 into this 10 number. Okay, and we will just get this value, get number, it will return it. Again do this, that is 35 into, because the number will change, no, 10 by 35 and 35 into 5, that is 175. So this is the just idea, or this is just demonstration by the delegate. So how delegate will perform the task, or how delegate is applicable over here. And also you just got the idea, that is when we pass this 25, value of n will be changed. No, here we write number is equal to number plus p. So that's why original, because it is a, so this number 10 is replaced by 35, and 35 into 5, that is 175. So this is just idea for delegates. Now you think about this multicasting of delegates. So delegate object can be composed by using plus operators, star operators, right? You know very well, these two delegates are composed. Subtract operator also we can pass to remove the component delegate from the delegates. So using the property of the delegate, we can create an innovations in our methods. We can reuse these methods, we can maintain the innovations. How we call it, by using delegates we can invoke it. So the delegates is different, that is called multicasting. Multicasting means what? Using this property of delegates, we can create an invocation, that is invocation list of methods, that will be called as call when delegate is invoked. It is called as multicasting. Look this. Now think about this program now. Delegate integer, number changed, integer n. So name of the delegate is number change. Okay, number is assigned by 10. The method is there, add number, integer plus, so number is equal to num plus p. Another number is there, multiplication, star q. To get number, it will just return the value. Now here what happened? Multicasting loop, this here what happened? We create two objects, nc and nc1. nc and nc1. Number change nc. Number, that is number change nc1 is equal to new number change, add number. Number change nc2 for multiplication. So when we write nc is equal to nc1, at that time what happened? nc is equal to nc1. And nc plus is equal to nc2. That means nc is equal to nc plus nc2. So these both are added. And when we call multicasting nc of 5, so at that time what happened? We got the result. Okay, look here. We will just go by this part only. Okay. That is value is 75. How there is 75? Think over it. So we pass the value by 5. So here 5 plus add number, no? 5. And then for multiplication, that is 5 plus 5 is equal to 0, no? Plus nc2. That's why the result, that is multiplication. For this multiplication, this 5 is to be transferred. Yeah, this is the called as multicast. The one more thing is remaining, that is called as exception handling. This part we discussed, because I think we discussed this part in C++, Java. The same way we can handle the exceptions. You know very well, exception is nothing but debugging. An exception is the problem finding during the execution of the program. If any error occurs, then fire these errors and to find out the proper solution for this. So an exception is the response to exceptional circumstance for the arises while the program in the running time. For example, like if the number is divided by 0, like this way. So there are three keywords which we handle the exceptions: try, catch, and final, and one more, that is throw. So exception provides a way to control from one part of the program to another part to handle the exceptions. Try. A try block identifies the block of the code, execution of the code, and which will particularly focus on exceptions. When there is any exception, it will activate on try block. It contains maybe more than one catch blocks. So what about catch? So catch program, that is a program catches an exception. So by using catch, we can actually catch the exception. Finally, this block is used to execute a given set of statements, whether exception is thrown or not thrown. What to do for this exception? Like sometimes file is open but it is not closed. There is fire like this. And throw, that is program throw an exception when problem shows up. So these four keywords are, I think, too much applicant for us. This is the syntax for handling the exceptions. Try, then blocks, then catch exception E1. Number of catch we may write exception E2, exception E3, exception En. So exceptions. Finally, you write the solution for this. Now there are various techniques for the exception handling. There are two methods specifically in namespace we are using. There is system.application exception and system.system exception. So these two classes are reserved for exception handling. The system application exception, the system.application exceptions are reserved for firing the application programs and to handle it, while system exception class is referred for system exceptions. If you look this program, you will got the idea. Look here. So here we write division numbers, a result is equal to 0. Okay, I declare one variable. So look in public void division integer number 1, number 2. These two are the parameters. Try result equal to number 1 divided by number 2. Catch divided by 0 exception E. So it is the system exception. Console.write line exception caught, that is what will be the your 0. And finally console.write result is 0. So finally we write the result 0. This is the final exception. Now you think about this. Here we create the object for the class D and we call the method division. Yeah, here the division method 25, 0 we pass two parameters and let us see what will be the result. Okay, you think what will be the result. So it will fire the exceptions, right, divided by 0, right, and it will say the result is 0. This is the output for our program. Okay, so yes, already you know these things in C++ and Java, but here just to get the idea how we can fire the exception in C# also. So this is what about exceptions. So system.application exceptions are support for application program, so which is defined by the programmers, and while the system.system exceptions for predefined classes. So this is the idea for this one. So this is again one user defined exceptions. This is one program. For the temperature purpose, if the temperature is 0, it will fire. So this is the end of this session. So mainly in this chapter we will mainly focus on exceptions, delegates and namespace. All this part will finish in this chapter. So it's better to Not today, but of course you need the more and more hard work for this, and I hope you will enjoy this lecture very well. But again, try to revise it. Now we discuss some practical sessions. Let us we discuss an example, that is structure, how we use the structure in C#.NET. One program discussed over here. I think in C or C++ already you studied the structure. It is also one of the reference data type. So here we declare the structure student, which contains, that is, student ID, name, C name, that is class name purpose. These are characters, and we want to accept the birth date, so that's why these three values we will accept by the integer day, month and year. So we declare the student structure. Now if you look this, so we are calling the structure with the object yes, but this yes having 5 data size, that is the array. Structure as array, we want to use structure as array. Okay, so this is a simple for loop for I is equal to 0, I is less than 5, I plus plus, and we write the message enter student ID. We collect this data like yes of I dot student ID dot equal to console dot read line. So yes of I, that is student ID. So all the values we will put up, right? We will put this value. Yes, so you observe that is by using read line we will put the data, and we will store it by the console structure variable s of I dot name is equal to console dot read line, like this way. And only the when we put the data in integer, at that time we use the function, that is convert into 32, int 32, and by the same manner we will print the data. Look what will be the result. So enter student ID. So we will enter the data student ID. It is string. So I take suppose yes 1. Student name, then course name, then birth date we take 4, 5, and suppose 99. Then next student ID yes 2, name, then birth date, yes 3, then suppose 5th 8, 99, yes 4, yes 5, so this is the output. We enter the data. So you observe we enter the data and just we print it by the same. So structure is the one of the technique just to collect the data in multiple views and we can store it. So this is what about structure. Yes, one more assignment already we discussed the Fibonacci series. So this is also one of the best example I am talking. So what about the Fibonacci series? Let us we will look this because already these programs are designed. So in FY, SY, you study this all these program. So only part is how you implement the logic. That's it. So how many numbers you want to print? I have entered 5, 0, 1, 1, 2. It will take 4 numbers. So this is the idea for this Fibonacci series. We look the logic. I think many parts we discussed in our previous few sections. Loops, conditional statement, break statement is also applicant over here. Break statement to break the loop. Yeah. So this program we discuss. I think there is no matter for this. One way to print this series 1, 2, 2, 2, 3, 3 like this way. This part is also important. So this is the output for pattern 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So here we are using nested loops, for loops and these for loops. That is nested for loop. This pattern also. So various examples for the pattern we discuss how to design the pattern. So this is the just idea for simple programming. Prime number also. You write the program for prime numbers. This is for pattern. This is for prime number. Enter any prime number. Prime. So this few examples you studied from a little bit the YSY. I will not take it in detail. Reverse number also. Case statement. So this all programs should be for. So let us we will stop today. I think main part we covered, which is necessary for this session, and today stop here.